Hello.
Hey girl, what's up?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fabulous. I cannot complain. The weather has been great.
It's been
And
popping.
well, let me take that back. I can't complain and I'm going to
No,
correct
we
what I
won't. We
said.
don't. We don't
But
want you to.
before I get into the complaining, I'm Laverne Badger
And I'm Natalie Hayden.
and we're Exposed the Podcast.
How about it?
So when I talked about this fabulous weather that we've been getting, it
Mm-hmm.
struck a nerve. I had like a twitch because I had to reminisce on how Natalie took me to this beach.
Oh, oh, you talking about that? Well, guys, hold on. To my defense, this is a team building. This is Expose the Podcast team building, and I said this is going to be an adventure. Anyone that knows me, as our guest is sitting in the background, I hope he's paying attention. Be mindful. It's always about an adventure.
Hint,
Hello, somebody.
hello, somebody. Okay. Well, this was an adventure I was not prepared for. And
Well, she survived.
so I was like, oh, we going to the beach somewhere where we can chill out, go over some, get some mental self-care. I'm like, I'm all for it. Natalie about self-care. She making sure we always getting ourselves together, getting our mental together
That's
and
right.
peace and all of that.
Tell them what we did before we stopped and got some good food.
We stopped and got food, snacks, and a little drinky drink that we couldn't drink because we didn't plan it through. We had no bottle opener. So we couldn't even I couldn't even take the liquor to take my mind off of when we got to this beach. It had to be a mile of a trail to actually get to the beach. So it was already downhill when I was walking literally downhill this trail. I'm like, we gonna have to come back up. But we got backpacks on, we got coolers in our hand. I'm like, a whole spiel. It was about 100 degrees outside.
It was 85.
I swear it was 100 degrees. I think it was 100 degrees. And it was not the experience I thought I was gonna have. It was just like I really did. Once we got there and we were settled and set up, I was fine. But then it was time to pack up and get
She
back.
couldn't even enjoy, guys. She was thinking about the way back and up the hill and how she was how she thought she wasn't going to make it. But guess what, guys? She's here today to tell you all about it.
I thought I was gonna die. I said we must have stopped 15 times. But at the end of the day, I'll follow my girl wherever because I know she got my best interest at heart.
That's
She
right.
know Expose is at the forefront of whatever we do. And so, but I need instructions and directions first. It's just I have to put it on the scale of am I gonna die by my version or am I gonna die by your version? Because our versions of death are different.
And you know what? I don't even like to like as far as surviving, because she didn't die, y'all. She didn't die not once. She
Mentally, I
survived.
died 3 times.
It's all in the mind. I'm all about a
Mentally, I
mental
died
challenge.
3 times.
And I felt that she totally could handle it simply because of all the things she's been conquering the last few months. And she's 50 and she looks amazing. And so it's nothing wrong with being a little extra challenged.
And that's what it was. So, like I said, I trust her. I follow her anywhere. But I just want y'all to know if Natalie ever asks you to come on an adventure with her, be prepared. Be prepared. So
Mentally.
I don't want to hold up our guest any longer, but I just had to put that out there that we did get out and enjoy ourselves this weekend, and we can't complain about hot weather because our summers are so short. But if you can get out there, get out there. But here we are with the wonderful, fabulous, gray-haired fox, out here. What we gonna say? We gonna out here killing them softly. He out here,
Out
he
here
out here
killing them.
killing them softly.
I don't know if it's softly, but he's definitely killing them.
So the one and only Mr. Calvin Lee.
Yes.
Good
Well,
evening, ladies. Good evening.
Hello,
welcome,
hello.
welcome.
Welcome
We
back.
want to
Because
first
we've
off,
had you on
yes,
our show before.
yes,
Yeah,
we have, we
Yeah.
have. And this time, with it being June, Father's Day this month, we want to recognize and support the men in our lives because you're in our lives and you're mentors and role models for so many other men, especially with you what you all are doing with We Black, We Golf. We just want to get up in your business. We want to know, all about fatherhood. How long have you been a father? When did you become a father? Did you plan to be a father? All those things. So, share with us what's going on. How was fatherhood?
let me first by saying, first and foremost, thank you, ladies, for having me on your podcast once again. And these are affectionately known as highlights. So, yeah, we'll leave it
Absolutely.
as that. We'll leave it as that. And I definitely appreciate and enjoy the adventure that you two ladies were talking about. So, I'll keep
You
that
look
in
forward
mind.
to the adventures? Okay.
Place that in the mental Rolodex. Yes. So, fatherhood. Wow. Fatherhood has been just that, an adventure and a journey. Um, my first was born in 1991, actually. He resides in Cincinnati, Ohio. Was my college sweetheart at the time. She went to University of Cincinnati. I went to Xavier University of Cincinnati, XU. We hated the Bearcats. The Bearcats hated the Musketeers, but at that time, I fell in love with a beautiful sister. They're from Cincinnati. I wasn't planning to have a son or a child that early on, especially following right after college. I was still blessed to have Calvin. He's named after me. Um, so to answer your initial question, it was not planned. However, I loved being a father. And then subsequently, some years later, was married and now divorced. I have two beautiful kids, one soon to be 21, and my daughter, who I have custody of, she will be 18 this year. So I'll soon be an empty nester, getting ready for her to
Wow.
go to college, and me doing my little dance, empty nester,
You get the
empty
daddy
nester.
dance, so
Hey,
you get to groove that.
hey, man, I you got nothing on me.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. Did you
So
have any examples of fathers? Like when you talk about how you sort of, you really didn't plan this while and after college. What were some examples that you had leading up to that of fathers?
Certainly. Um, my parents were actually divorced probably when I was at the age of 2, maybe 3. He had been around, but not actively involved in our lives. So the examples I looked at, to be honest, I'll just be very blunt and honest with you. Um, it was my father's brothers. It were men in my immediate neighborhood who had their families intact, and I could see them doing things with their kids along with their mate or their spouse. Um, and just to be real with you, like where I grew up at here in the city of Milwaukee off of 29th and North Avenue, we had prostitution, we had pimps out there and all that. Um, so when we talk about that true village, I mean, I've seen different things and gathered different things from different people, and you know, uh, and people somewhat gawk at the idea like, what could you possibly learn from the streets and things of that nature? Well, you learn what you not want to do,
right,
what
right,
you don't want to take.
Yep.
Which will come consequences.
right.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, even with knowing what you don't want to do, it can still steer young men or adult males away from fatherhood for the fear of failure. So did that ever come across your mind when you're young to say, okay, I have this whole entire person who is responsible for me, that I'm responsible for, and do I really know what I'm doing? So yeah, like is it because I know what it is like for moms. Like we don't get a handbook that tells us all the things, but we have a nurturing mechanism growing up from just being from our very first big doll.
Sure.
Like we've been trained on how to care for children, but then that's not given to you guys, men, on how necessarily to train up to be dads. So was that something that was like you never thought, I don't want to be a part of this, like it's too much?
Never thought about that. However, that aspect of failure, that's real. And there is no blueprint, no book provided to us as men or even young men that have a child at that early age. Um, I am 52 years of age. My daughter, the last of my tribe, is a will now be a senior in high school. Men, period, don't like the idea of failure. It messes with our psyche. We're fixers. We want to come in, fix things, assemble things. We're more hands-on in that capacity. So those men, as well as the women that are listening to this podcast, I mean, that is a constant. I don't want to call it a battle, but it is a constant reminder. Um, because my kids are my fuel for what I do,
Mm-hmm.
and I am their example. They are my example.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
That well said. Well said. So let's see. How does that translate into the things that you do in the community? Because you're 9 to 5, you're a lobbyist. And so for specific things that you go, and we don't necessarily have to go deep into that because you can talk all day about what you do. And but we want to say bring it to community. The man that you are, the father that you are, does that trickle into how you treat your community, how you give back?
Mm-hmm. The interconnected piece of that. Yeah.
Fatherhood is nonstop, just like motherhood. It's
Yep.
24/7. You know, there are things that you may not have thought about that last minute trigger something that you will immediately have to react to. But how it relates to everything that I do in this community throughout the state of Wisconsin, or if I'm in Illinois or Texas, um, that village, once again, that village, the men that are part of my circle, those are strong brothers. We mentor quite a bit, even if it's not someone that I have chosen to like sign up for and go through a program and mentor. Mentoring can be seeing that young brother at the gas station and he's sagging. You're like, come on, bro, fam, pull up your pants.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, you can drop jewels to our young men at any time of the day. I take plethora of young men up to Madison with me who have never left the city of Milwaukee, and now they're in this institution at our state capitol. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Then when we bring in the race component, I can take them down a specific hallway and they can see primarily in the state of Wisconsin, all the past presidents for the assembly are none but all white men.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying? So now we as black men or young black men walking through this hallway, all you see is there are no reflections of themselves,
Right.
which can really stir additional conversations and guidance and teaching for these young men.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So with that, how is it that I literally just lost that thought that quick. I'm sorry.
Well,
Like,
I'll
Go
say,
ahead.
I'll pick it up if interrupt if you remember it, Nat. So
Thank
going back to being a Black man and a Black father, what would you have told your younger self? Is there anything that you know now that you would have told your younger self being a father? So what is the gap between your son and your second child?
Approximately 10 years.
So
Okay.
that's a huge gap.
Yeah, it is.
Gap. So there's things that you knew with your 21-year-old that you didn't necessarily know or had experience with the first one. So what would you have told your younger self?
What I would have told my younger self is things that I have obviously instilled in my walk now. And that's
Mm.
patience, preparation, and perseverance.
Mm,
Mm.
I call it the 3 Ps: patience, preparation, and perseverance. And that's what I instill into my tribe, my kids. And choices come consequences. You know, we can do the best job as a parent, as a father, but oftentimes we want to believe that our kids are going to make those right decisions when they leave the house.
right.
We continue to be prayerful.
Mm-hmm.
We continue to influence them.
Right.
Sometimes be at the wrong place at the right time, and you know things happen. But aside from the 3 Ps, it's that showing affection.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
No, especially my boys, letting them know it's all right to cry.
right.
That's good.
Talk to me. And if you don't feel like talking to me, let me get you somebody that you can talk to. Because there was a period of time in my life that I actually had to sit down and speak to someone, a therapist.
Mm-hmm.
That's real talk.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
I
That
think it was G.
more Black men. I see that more Black men are supporting that and giving you each other permission to get that mental health and get counseling, and not making it a stigma or making it seem like you're weak if you need that assistance, to kind of let things out. Um,
You know, I would tell you this. I think that men, more importantly, fathers have evolved, right?
yes.
And this is not necessarily knocking what men did when I was growing up, or my friends, my colleagues were growing up. Their roles were, take care of the house, kids don't bother dad, let him do it. No,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
so many brothers that are hands on. They cook, they clean, they wash, they don't miss parent teacher conferences,
Yep.
all of that. That was unheard of back in the day with me. I am hands on with my kids. I take my daughter to go get her hair done. We go shopping for her prom dress, her homecoming dress, things of that nature. And if
Right.
we disagree upon the style of dress or what have you, we'll FaceTime my sister, and she is the arbitrator. Sometimes she agrees with me, sometimes she agrees with my daughter, and that's the final binding decision.
Right.
But men have evolved to hear, we give other men permission. I don't know if it's so much that we give them other permit. We give them permission for more than right now. Men are starting to feel comfortable with themselves and talking about mental health issues,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
sharing their feelings and their frustrations and so forth. And they don't have to worry about being shitted on.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are being shitted on, you may as well drop that person.
Right. Because I know even when I hear it today, like I'll be honest with you. Here's a transparent moment. Anytime I hear, and even with your situation, if I hear a dad has full custody of his child, the first thing I'm thinking is, what is wrong with mom that the child ended up with dad? When there could not have been anything wrong. There could not, you know what I mean? The assumption is negative, as if you guys as fathers don't have the capacity to parent full time. If you're
I
not in
agree.
the house, if you're not in the household together, that
Mhm.
you don't know how to parent full time. And you see dads at schools now picking up, making lunches. You see, I mean, it's all over television now. But we don't always see it in Black dads. It's not highlighted, which is why Natalie and I chose June, Father's Day month, to celebrate and highlight men who are fathers that are doing their jobs as parents, and those who, not only those who are perfect at doing their job, who stepped up and said, I know I'm a father now and do what I need to do. But we have somebody coming on next week who the week after, who didn't get it right in the beginning.
Sure.
And so but he's learned, and he's figuring it out with adult children. And so, but we need to that needs to be highlighted as well. We don't want to necessarily say that Black men don't take care of their kids, because that's just not true.
No.
Given the opportunity, they stand up to the occasion. A lot of times moms and women will keep them from that.
Yep.
That's a whole
That's gonna be my question. I know
that's
going to be my question.
Right, that's a whole nother show, because with Natalie co-parents with her ex very well, because she understands the importance of his presence in their child life. A lot of women don't see that. And so kudos to you, but why do we have to give you kudos when it's just something you do? Because they don't walk around and tell women thank you for being a mom. You're just being a mom because that's what you're supposed to do. But we are going to give you your flowers today, because I think Black men don't get enough.
I greatly appreciate it, but I mean, there are tons of examples in our community of men actively involved in their kids' lives, and actively can be a very subjective term. The courts may delegate only a weekend, a month, things of that nature. So that person can still try to use every minute, every second of that weekend and still be actively involved, right? Now, speaking from experience, going through my arduous divorce process, prior to the divorce, we made an agreement week on, week off. And unfortunately, going through family courts and me as a negotiator and so forth, professionally, and then did not realize I was going to have to do that through the courts. Family court is set up basically, in my opinion, damn near that you have to have a winner, you have to have a loser. And so this whole fallacy of the best interests of the kids, well, the best interest of the kids is to have two responsible people co-parenting and working things out as best they can, because once you get downtown or whatever city you're in, once you involve family courts, a lot of those decisions are then stripped away from either party. And unfortunately for me, it was in many men in our community here, those things were stripped away from us.
Right. Because it's to me, I always feel like the dads get a short end of the stick. And my kids, their dad, he wasn't there. Like, once we broke up, it was like they were second class citizens to him. But I still, and I didn't grow up with my father either, but I still advocate for dads, because I understand the importance of them my kids not having their dad, how that impacted them as adults now, how it impacts me. And being able to say that it's not even fair. If you a dad has to have a 3-bedroom house, beds for everybody, TV in the room for everybody. And a mom just got to have a couch. She dealing with a mama in the basement. Everybody got pallets on the floor, and she got full custody. So the requirements just aren't different, other than you just being mom. You know what I mean? And so dad can still parent in those same circumstances as mom. But I can go on that tangent.
I was going to tell you, and that was part for me going through that process. It's interesting because professionally, I advocate for so many people, right? But then once you find yourself somewhat in that dark hole, it
Mm-hmm.
was like, damn, Calvin, you're not even advocating for yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
And it took it took some time for me to actually process a whole hell of a lot of things. And it's easy for me to research various laws in different states and things of that nature and look at co-parenting laws in Arizona, Illinois, and see what we're not doing here in Wisconsin, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Um, and then there was a period of time also that I was actually writing posts geared towards men on Facebook.
Mm.
Mm.
Conversation with
Pause
coffee.
on that for a minute because I really want to. That is the mentoring piece that I really want to allow you to shed some light on. But we're going to send Laverne off.
Yep, I
Laverne, enjoy
gotta
your.
go. And oh my
We
God,
love
I
you,
keep
Calvin,
thanking you
and
for
I.
this
We're going to keep
conversation.
talking.
But Natalie got you. You in good hands, and I can't wait to hear the end. I can't wait to hear the end of it. So next you can take me off the screen, and
All
I
right,
will catch up with you afterwards.
all right,
Bye-bye.
Calvin.
co-host.
Yes.
So yes, you were